Welcome to Tales of Honor, a podcast with a mission to tell the true stories of every recipient of our nation's highest military award, the Medal of Honor. Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Tales of Honor podcast. I'm your host, Christoph Ambrosch, and this is episode number 611, number 611. For those who are wondering why there was no episode on Sunday, well, just because there wasn't. No, I decided to take a day off, and even though I usually do these stories ahead of time, try to record ahead of time and get everything done, I didn't, and just decided that I would rather take a day off, enjoy the beautiful weather, work outside, go to church, just a bunch of stuff to not only rest and but also to prepare for some stuff that we have going on here around the mini homestead that we have. So just decided to make some time for all of that. Unfortunately, y'all had to just wait a few more days, but if you're lucky, if you're really lucky, if you're good and very nice, maybe you'll get a bonus episode this week. And by bonus, I mean just making up for what I didn't do. So we'll see how that goes. I do have two birthdays to go over today. One was on Sunday, the 16th. So April 16th, 1948. This birthday belongs to Mr. Robert Patterson, who I actually just covered his story back on episode number 607. So go back and check that out. Mr. Patterson is a former U.S. Army Command Sergeant Major that earned the Medal of Honor for his actions during the Vietnam War, and he turned the beautiful age of 75 years old. So a happy birthday to Mr. Patterson. The other birthday I have was actually yesterday, April 18th, 1948. Another recipient that I just covered, Mr. Don Jenkins. Don was born on the 18th of April, 1948. He is a former U.S. Army Staff Sergeant that earned the Medal of Honor for his actions during the Vietnam War. And like I said, I just covered his story back on episode number 606. I'll have links for both of those stories in the show notes. But if you're listening to this, you probably just listened to their story, but it would behoove you to go back and give another listen and refresh your old brain, your old gray matter up in between the old ears in the noggin. I do mention it in today's story, but today's Medal of Honor citation is read again by, at the time, the Army Secretary Stanley Resor. So that's all I got for today. So let's get into today's Tale of Honor. Born on the 24th of April, 1947 in LaGrange, Georgia, James grew up about 100 miles west in Sylacauga, Alabama. His mother was 15 at the time of his birth and made arrangements for him to be adopted and raised by his aunt, though he would spend summers with his mother in LaGrange. James, also known as Mike, played in the band in high school and graduated from B.B. Comer High School in 1965. He then enrolled in the Alex City Junior College, but within the year joined the U.S. Army in Montgomery, Alabama. After Officer Candidate School, he was commissioned and deployed to the Republic of Vietnam late in 1967. It was his actions on the 25th of April, 1968, that would later earn him the Medal of Honor. The citation reads,
"The President of the United States of America, authorized by Act of Congress March 3, 1863, has awarded in the name of the Congress the Medal of Honor to Captain James M Sprayberry, United States Army, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. Captain James M Sprayberry, Armor, United States Army, distinguished himself by exceptional bravery on April 25, 1968, in the Republic of Vietnam while serving as Executive Officer of Company D, 5th Battalion, 7th Cavalry, 1st Cavalry Division, Air Mobile. On this date, his company commander and a great number of the men were wounded and separated from the main body of the company. A daylight attempt to rescue them was driven back by the well-entrenched enemy's heavy fire. Captain Sprayberry organized and led a volunteer night patrol to relieve the surrounded element. Almost immediately upon departure, the patrol began receiving enemy machine gun fire. Captain Sprayberry moved the patrol to protective cover, crawled within close range of the bunker from which the fire was coming, and silenced the machine gun with a hand grenade. Identifying several one-man enemy positions nearby, Captain Sprayberry attacked them with the rest of his grenades. He crawled back for more grenades, and when 2 grenades were thrown at his men, Captain Sprayberry, without hesitation, again exposed himself and charged the enemy bunker, killing its occupants with a grenade. Placing 2 men to cover his advance, he crawled forward and neutralized 4 more bunkers with grenades and killed an enemy soldier who had charged from a concealed position. Captain Sprayberry then established radio contact with the isolated men, directing them toward his position. When the 2 elements made contact, he organized his men into litter parties to evacuate the wounded. As the evacuation was nearing completion, he observed an enemy machine gun position, which he silenced with a grenade. This rescue operation, which lasted approximately 7.5 hours, saved the lives of many of his fellow soldiers. Captain Sprayberry personally killed 12 enemy soldiers. Captain Sprayberry's indomitable spirit and gallant action, at great personal risk to his life, are in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army.
Mike returned to the States in 1969, deciding to leave the Army until he encountered an anti-war demonstration in Washington. This angered him, and he decided to make a career out of his time in the Army. On the 9th of October, 1969, Mike received the Medal of Honor from President Nixon in his ceremony with 3 others in the South Lawn of the White House, with his citation read by Secretary of the Army Stanley Resor. He went on to serve 2 tours in Germany and worked on developments for the M1 Abrams tank. Mike retired at the rank of lieutenant colonel in 1988 after 22 years of service. After retirement, he returned to the family farm and frequently thought of those that had not been recovered during the war. In 2006, Mike was able to return to Vietnam to assist with the search for the men that had been left behind during his mission. To this day, his time is spent researching information that may lead to locating those that are missing in action and helping to bring comfort to those families. The family farm is still being maintained by his brother-in-law, and James Michael Sprayberry is 75 years old at the time of this recording and still resides in Alabama. And that was the Tale of Honor. Thank you for listening to Tales of Honor, and if you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe and tell your friends and family. Tales of Honor is written and produced by Christoph Ambrosch, and theme music is Loyalty and Duty by Floruz Music. If you have any questions, you can send an email to talesofhonorpodcast@gmail.com, and please be sure to visit talesofhonorpodcast.com for more episodes and information.